Hi everybody, Joel Kennedy with Kennedy Violins. So the purpose of the video today is kind of do a play along and kind of show you guys some tricks or whatever on how to play John Williams' theme for the Olympics. Okay, so there's basically like two main themes that the Olympics are well known for, and you hear them all the time on TV. There's the older one that was written by Leo Arnaud in 1968, I believe. We all recognize it. Right? But that's about it. It's pretty short. So that's why I'm going to do the one written by John Williams, that is a little bit more modern. Right? Probably recognize that. Okay, so that's what the video is today. Okay, so I don't normally do play-along videos, but my intention is, based off of your guys' comments, is to do a lot more play-alongs and to teach you guys how to play a lot of different songs. So I picked this one just because it's, it's the Olympics right now. And this might be really, really difficult for some people. It might be ridiculously easy for others because there's a big wide range of abilities that people watch the channel. So I'm just kind of shoot down the middle and do the best that I can. Okay, so there's basically like three main themes in this Olympic Fanfare and Theme. Okay, so the first one would be starting in measure 6. So if you look at the sheet music here on your screen, you'll see a little box. Okay, that's a measure number. In fact, if you go down a few lines, you'll see on the left-hand side another box that says 14, right? So that's the measure, that's just marking measure numbers, right? So we can use those to try to figure out where we are in the music. Okay, so starting in the 6th measure, we have like the first theme. Right, and it just repeats. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, then the next theme that we have is measure 13. So you find box 14, go a measure before that, and you have... And then we have our third theme that kind of starts in measure 29. So it's a little bit of a variation. Right? And then it just kind of repeats. Okay, so that's the three main themes. So after you play those three main themes, then they come back again, but with little variations, and then you got the... right? The big end, okay? So let's talk about the first theme. Okay, so I'm going to put the metronome on so you guys can, hopefully you can hear it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it over the microphone, but I've got it on 90, okay? So obviously you won't want to practice it at 90, I'm assuming. You might want to practice it a lot slower. And remember, when you practice something, you want to start really, really slow, play it as many times as you can correctly, and then speed the metronome up. So right now, I just have it at 90. So you have 16th notes here at measure 6, and they're short. So you should be in the lower part of the bow. You don't want to be up here, because that'll give you long notes. The notes are supposed to be short. Okay, now in a professional orchestra, you'd probably bounce your bow a little bit. Okay, but I've picked bowings and fingerings that are more accessible to more people. So if you want to do spiccato, hey, that's great. But it's not necessary if you stay lower in the bow. Okay, so then at the end of the first theme, right, the third line down here, you'll notice that you have some half notes, okay? So measure 6, 7, 8, 9. So measure 9, you have a half note. Well, one of the reasons why you want to be in the lower part of the bow is because that sets you up to have enough bow for that half note, which is worth 2 beats. See? So you need that whole beat, that whole bow. And then you use that dotted 8th and 16th to get back to the frog for this really long whole note. So it's going to look like this. To the frog. 2, 3, 4, 1. You see that? Okay, so the next theme we have is a measure before 14. Now this one is mezzo piano, so you see the MP there. So just think of it as medium quiet, right? So piano means quiet, right? M means it's medium quiet, right? So if you took the M off, then it would just be quiet, right? If you put 2 P's, it'd be like double quiet. If you put 3 P's, it'd be like, I can't hardly hear you, right? So this is medium piano. Now this is a melodic section. So now we don't want those short bow strokes. Now we want long bow strokes. So now we're going to use a lot of bow. So we're starting up bow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Okay, so you see how we use the whole bow for that whole note, okay? So one thing you have to remember is that you always have to plan ahead when you have long notes. So if you have a long note and you've got to use a lot of bow, then you have to think ahead, plan your bowing accordingly. So in this instance, just like in the first theme, since we have this really long whole note, we're going to make sure that this up bow takes us to the very bottom part of our bow, so we can play that whole note, right? And you'll notice if I go on, I want to be at the frog again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rest. And where does that put me? It puts me at the tip, which is exactly where I want to be, because I have to go up bow to the frog again. 4, right? Okay, so let's just play that theme through with the metronome. Rest. 4, 1, 2, rest. 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, rest. Okay, so now we have the second part of that second theme, okay? So now we have these eighth note figures. Then, okay? So we're gonna want to use probably about half of the bow, and we're probably gonna want to hide out in the middle of the bow somewhere, so we can play these figures. We got one that takes up this, we got another one that takes up this, we got another one that takes up this, right? So we have to plan our bows out really, really well. So good. Then we have quarter notes, and we have a low 1, that's a B flat, followed by a low 4, that's an E flat. Now that is a quarter note tied to a dotted quarter note, so that's 2.5 beats, right? So we're gonna need more bow for that. So we use that low first finger to take us lower in the bow, so we have enough bow for that E flat. And we notice also, you see those little V's, they look like little crocodiles. When I was a kid, well, when I was teaching little kids, we used to call them crocodiles. But you see the one that's pointed on the left, and then it's wider in the right. And then in the next measure, it's wide on the left, and it goes to a small point on the right. So that's telling you what to do with the volume of your sound. So if it looks like we want that E flat, that fourth finger, we want that to be loud. So we're going to use that B flat, that first finger, to get us all the way to the frog, so we can do maximum sound without running out of bow, right? So we always want to plan everything out. So at measure 2, we have, 22. I'll turn a metronome. At measure 22, we have to the frog. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, rest. And you see in measure 25, well, 24 and 25, we have those 2 half notes that are connected. That's 4 whole beats. That's quite a bit. So, and that's a down bow. So now you know, okay, I got 4 beats there and I'm doing a down bow. I have to make sure that I'm in the lower part of the bow, the frog, to make sure I don't run out of bow for that B natural, okay? So starting in measure 22, now you look at my bow and you'll see how it's planned out. So now middle of the bow, to the frog, 1, 2, now we're at the tip. 1, 1, 2, 3, okay? And you'll notice where I just stopped, I have a half note followed by a dotted half note, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats that we have. Remember, a dot takes half of the value of a note and adds it to itself. So if it's a quarter note, you're gonna add an eighth. If it's a half note, you're gonna add 1 beat since a half note is worth 2, okay? So 2 half notes is 4 beats. You put that dot, takes half of that preceding half note, that's worth 2 beats. And what's half of 2? 1. So that dotted half is worth 3. So altogether, we have 3 plus 2 equals 5. Yeah, so it's kindergarten math, but it works. Okay, so now let's just play that theme all the way in its entirety, and then we'll do the last theme, which is the third theme. Okay, so let's start the metronome. And I just have it on 90 because it's a pretty good speed. Now, if you're wanting to practice this stuff, especially the third theme, you know, you're gonna want to put the metronome a lot slower, especially in the third theme because it's a little tricky. Okay, starting measure 22. 2, 1, 2, rest. 1 and 1, 2, 3, rest. Okay, so now let's try the third theme. This one's the most tricky in terms of rhythm, okay? So I'm gonna play it with the metronome so you can kind of see how things fit. Now, one thing you'll notice in the music, that is a scan of the PDF that I printed out, is that there's these 2 little dashes. So in measure 30, at the end of that, you'll see these 2 little dashes. And then in the next measure, you'll see another 2 little dashes. So what that indicates is a retake. So you're ending with the down bow, and then you're retaking to do another down bow. So when you're a kid and you're learning how to read music, they're often referred to as train tracks. So train track, right? So it's like it's a cut, right? So you see the train track, break, break. Okay, so I'll put the metronome on 90 again, and then I'll play the third theme. Break, break. Oh, whoops, I just repeated it again. Okay, let me try it again. Break, break. Rest, break. Rest. Right, then it goes back to the theme number 1. Okay, good. So let's talk about this theme really quick. Okay, so you'll notice, we don't have a whole lot of whole notes. So that's usually a really good indicator when we have these really short notes like sixteenths and dots, right? You see those dots above the D natural, right above measure 30. Those dots always indicate short notes. So we can play spiccato, you know, off the string, or we can play staccato, right? So for purposes of this video, I'm just gonna play staccato, right? Short notes, stop the bow, right? Kind of depends on how long the notes are. But anyways, short notes, okay? So anyway, and now we're gonna wanna be mostly in the lower part of the bow. It's a lot more difficult to play short notes a lot of the times in the upper part of the bow. So as a general rule, if you see staccato markings or spiccato markings, most of the time you're gonna wanna be probably in the lower part of the bow. So, rest. So you notice how I'm staying in the lower part of the bow, right? Rec. Break. Rest. Break. Break. Right? So I know I'm saying break, but you could also just say retake, retake, retake. So I'm retaking the bow. Retake. 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 Okay, it's really hard for me to say retake while I'm retaking. Rest. Retake. Retake. Rest. Right? And then we are back to the main theme. Okay, so I will play that with the metronome so you can kind of see what it sounds like with the beat. Rest. Rest. Okay, and so forth and so on. Okay, good. So now that you have some, you know, shortcuts or tricks, you know, how to play each section, I'm just going to turn the metronome on, and then I'm just going to play a little bit of each theme, perhaps, yeah, just a little bit of each theme, just for time. So just for a little bit of review, and then we'll just finish it off with the second page, which is very similar to the first page. Okay, so first theme. Okay, then second theme. Oh, and by the way, if you can play third position, instead of open 3-1, it's much better to do open 1-3. And if you really want to be juicy, right, you can put a slide when you go down to the first finger in first positions. Okay, so anyways, second theme. 3, 4, 5, 6, rest. 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, rest. Rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. Rest. Okay, and then we are back to the first theme. Okay, so I've already showed you how to play the second theme, so I'm just going to play through it. So now I'm going to start a little bit before measure 44. Oops. Rest. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rest. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rest. Okay, so at measure 52, it starts out just like it did last time. Right? No big deal. Okay, but now in measure 57, we see it goes to flat 4, but now it holds it out for 5 beats, and then it goes to an F natural, which is going to be a low first finger on the E string, right? Instead of an F sharp. So an F sharp, just so you know, right? A first finger on the E string is, if you make it the same position as the other strings, it's actually a sharp. So if you put first finger on a G, well, that's an A natural. If you put a first finger on the D, well, that's an E natural. If you put it on first finger on the A, well, that's a B natural. But if you put the first finger in the same spot on the E, that's an F sharp. So that's something that's interesting about the violin. So if you want to play a natural F on the E string, you have to actually play a low first finger, right? So you get that first finger and you kind of push it, you make sure it touches the nut of your violin. Natural, sharp. Okay, but they've indicated to play an F natural here, so you got to make sure you play that low first finger. So it's going to sound like this. Here's the flat 4, then natural F, low first finger, then low second finger. So it sounds like this in measure 55, right? Go to the frog, low 1. Okay, so you really want to watch your bow usage. So when that E flat starts, well, that's forte. So you see the little alligator before that, that's indicating on the bottom of the staff, you know, you see how it's indicating you need to get louder. Well, you can do that because, you know, you can do that by utilizing your bow to do that. But you want to make sure on that E flat, you're at the extreme frog, and you see that little indication on top of that E flat, that little sideways V, you know, that's an accent mark. So that's indicating that you need to attack that note. And we've had them in other parts of the music as well. That's an accent, right? So to the frog, 1, 2, crescendo, and then this G natural, second finger on the E, you need to accent that, right? And you need to be at the bottom of the bow to make sure you accent that, and you don't want to run out of bow. 2, 3, 4, right? Crescendo. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then okay, so now we got that F natural again in this little figure. It's a little bit of a finger twister. So you might have to practice that a little bit. Right, so you got that little, but again, you want to use just a little bit of bow so it's a lot easier. If you're in the wrong part of the bow, you know, it's just really awkward. So use a little bit of bow, keep your bow hand relaxed, and stay at the frog. Right, and then it'll be easier. Okay, so now we have the last line. Crescendo, accent. Okay, so let me put the metronome on. The last line, which is measure, I don't know, 60, 61, 62, 63, 63. But it's the last line. 2, 3, 4, accent. Okay? Rests. Okay? Oh, my metronome just died. What do you do? Okay, so you may have noticed I'm doing an open A, right, on the last line. So, okay, normally you would never hold out an open string, like that, because it's considered, bad. It doesn't sound good. You're not vibratoing it. It's not very warm. Okay, so if you want to play fourth finger or second finger, you certainly can. It's just a matter of preference. The only reason I'm playing an open A is because this is the very end and it's kind of in your face. It's the big grand finale to the theme. That's the only reason I'm playing an open A. But of course, if you don't like that, you're like, that's nasty. Okay, don't play an open A. Just play a fourth finger or a second finger in third position. Or... okay, so that's about it for this piece. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please ask me. If there's some things that you'd rather me do, like maybe play through the whole thing but play it slowly, or maybe play the stuff more often so you can play with me, I don't know. Just let me know what helps. So guys, like I said, if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the comment section below. I answer just about all the comments. I've talked to a lot of you guys in the past week or so, because we're doing our violin giveaway that ends in about a week or so. We're giving away a Zubak, and a lot of people are subscribed and signed up and filling out questionnaires, and so I'm getting a lot of input from you guys on what you want me to do. So anyways, with that, I hope you guys have a great day, and gosh, happy practicing.